Howdy everyone, and welcome to Benchmark Sims, or BMS. If you're looking for a top-notch combat flight sim experience, look no further. A little over 2 years ago, saw the release of BMS 4.37, and the developers of BMS introduced the F-15C Eagle with its own set of avionics and systems. This release has been built upon incrementally, and we are now at Update 6. With this latest update, we see the end of development of 4.37, and we wait the next major release, version 4.38. So until that time, I wanted to create a couple of tutorials to help people who are new to the Eagle to get up to speed and to help to get in the fight. My first tutorial was a familiarization of the cockpit and a ramp start demonstration. I'll provide a link in the description for that tutorial. The objective for this tutorial will be to provide a comprehensive demonstration of the systems and the avionics that are currently implemented through Update 6 for the F-15C. As always, reference the F-15's -1 and -34 manuals located in your BMS docs folder. For this presentation, I will not be covering air to ground or guns. These systems are very early works in progress, and little documentation is available. Also, I will not be discussing BVR engagements with respect to formations and timelines in this video, as there is a plethora of information concerning these topics. During this tutorial, I will be flying the same campaign mission as the ramp tutorial. The airspace is potentially hot, and we need to be cognizant of enemy activity. This is a dynamic environment, and anything is possible. For aiding in the demonstration, I will be frequently freezing the sim with Shift P and pausing head tracking. I don't want anyone to get seasick. So I'll see you in the air. Welcome to Angels 25 over South Korea. We're currently in orbit over Kunsan Air Base. So the first thing we want to take a look at as we prepare for this journey is our controls. And that comes in the form of a HOTAS, your hands on throttle, and stick. With the HOTAS, you'll be able to control many of the systems literally by lifting a finger. So let's take a look at the hats and switches you'll be using. This first graphic is from the Eagle's -1 manual of the throttle quadrant. And we'll start here at the bottom inboard and work our way around to the outside. This first switch, number 1, is your weapon select switch. You choose guns, medium range missiles, and short range missiles. Number 2 is your boat switch, and this cycles your missiles on your rails. 3 is speed brake, open and close. 4 is microphone switch for primary and auxiliary comms. Number 2 is it's a coolie switch. The manual has a lot of it just mentioned as the multifunction switch, so they're interchangeable. 6 is target designator control, the TDC, and this will control your cursor movements and also has a depress function. 7, the SBR switch. Not using BMS right now, it's not implemented. It's called the special burst ranging, but we're not going to use that. 8 is in elevation control. So this moves up and down the volume of your search FCR. Number 9 is your ECM dispenser switch. And in BMS, this will consent to program 2. So whatever you have as program 2 in your DTC, that will fire that off. Finger lifts, we use those to start the engines and went over those in the tutorial for the ramp start. The next graphic from the -1 is for the stick. And we'll start at the bottom and work our way around over here. So number 1 is the paddle. And the paddle switch is used to disengage your nose wheel steering while you're on the ground. If you're going to be taking off or something like that, you don't want to careen off the runway. Use that. Once in the air, that gives consent for program 1 of your ECM. So again, whatever you have in your DTC is program 1, that will fire that off. 2 is the nose wheel button, and when you're taxiing on the ground, if you hold this gives full deflection of 45 degrees for the nose wheel, so you can really get the bird turned around on the ground. So be careful when you do that. You might get a little out of control. Also, when you're in air, this is your uncage for your sidewinders. Next is this switch here. It's the auto acquisition switch. Auto ac has a depress function, and that's used for releasing your air-to-air refuel. Here's the trigger. Everybody knows what that's for. Same with the weapon release or pickle. Next is a castle, and this will do a lot of things on the situation page that we'll look at here in a little bit. And over here on the right side is your trim hat. Don't really have to trim the Eagle much, it seems, in BMS, so don't really do that often. All right, that's it for the class work. So now let's get to the real work. The first thing one notices in the pit is the heads-up display, or the HUD. It's right in front of your face. So let's take a look at some of the information that's presented on the HUD. This is your airspeed tape. This caret indicating your current airspeed. Your heading tape, same thing with this caret here. And your altitude tape, and this caret indicates your current altitude. Your flight path marker. It's your gun sight, your ship waterline. And here in the corner is a B representing the steer point that's active. So right now we're heading towards steer B, or base. We're in nav mode. Look down here. An ADI is lit up. Means we're currently in nav. We're 38.3 miles from the steer point. And if we turn to it now, it's going to take 5 minutes to get there. On this side is your current Mach, 0.9376. Your current G load, 1.0. And your available G, which is 7.5. Now in the Eagle, B represents steer point 1 in the DTC or on the UI map. So if we come over here, you zoom in a little bit here, your steer point, right there, we can change it this way here. So steer 1 represents steer 2 in your DTC or on the map UI. So you got to be aware of that while you're flying. Take note of your cap points or whatever it is that you want. It's going to be different in the pit from what's shown on your screen in the map. So we'll navigate back to B here. All right. If you notice, the flat path marker is way off to the side there. In nav mode, we can coolie hat down, and that will cage the FPM to the center of the HUD. That is a little vertical line here that appears next to it is your steering cue, your bank steering cue, and whatever steer point you have selected. If you fly towards this stick, that will navigate you towards the steer point. So if I lean and pull and keep it here, we'll roll around to our B point. Down here, change this to 2. Or steer 1, sorry. That changes that a little bit. And we fly over here to it, so you can get the correct bank and pull to navigate towards that point. Looks like we're coming up on it here, so we're kind of leveling out, it seems like. Right before we get to the meat and potatoes, I want to go over a few systems that you'll use from time to time while on a mission. First one is your autopilot. So say I want to fly a level here at about 27,000 feet. Look over here, and the first thing you want to do is flip the attitude hold and then the alt hold to hold the altitude, and now we're flying straight and level. You can activate this within about, say 2.5 degrees. So if I'm coming up, pull up here and engage it now. So attitude, then altitude. I'm too high, see? Nose down a little bit. 2.5, there we go. Try it. There it goes. So you can't be flying at some crazy angle. They're pretty much level and engage it. Fly back over here towards the home plate. Too far north. As you can see, it's trying to pick my nose up while I turn. If you want to attitude hold, it's kind of the same thing. Let's just engage these. Pull up to your attitude you want to hold. Say right about there, that's good. Let it settle down. And just hit your attitude hold switch. And it's maintaining. And if I bank a little bit here, it should try to keep it with my nose up. It's doing alright. Add a little thrust. I don't like it too much. Level back out, see what it does. It's climbing back up. So we're holding our attitude here. Up next is the Integrated Countermeasure Set, or ICS. And first thing we'll do is look over towards the Twos panel. Right here, zoom in. And here we have set 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2 are surface threat bands. Set 3 is your airborne threat bands. If you'll notice, this switch here is bound together, so you select all 3 at one time. In auto mode, this gives the jet consent to jam or not, based on the threat. And in manual mode, you're giving consent to jam. So we need to look at what we're jamming over here on the EW panel. So in the forward or aft position is transmit 1, is transmit 2, and transmit 3. So 1 is all out your back, 2 is front and back, and in transmit 3, it just goes ahead and transmits everywhere without any kind of consent given. So this will be the just in case bad things are happening position. So you normally fly in transmit 2. And then you, in manual mode over here, we're giving it consent when to jam or not, because you don't want any home on jam coming up on you. I got a little graphic here for us. It just shows your ICS while it's in operation. Your forward cone of ECM that's being emitted 60 degrees, and between 60 and 120 it slowly gets degraded until it's 0 here. Same with your elevation, +5 above your nose to -20, and then also you have this area that it depreciates in effectiveness, forward and aft. So out the back it's the same, 60 to 120 and 5 to -20. So in transmit 1, only this area will be jamming. Transmit 2, you'll get forward and aft, and the same with 3. Next on the list is your countermeasures dispenser system, and that's going to be over here in the corner on the right. And we'll set this to manual here, and with the paddle switch is program 1, and your countermeasure switch on the throttle is program 2. And if I was to hit prog 1, which is my flares, you'll see the panel light flash up here. There's a flare, hot flares. And if I hit the chaff button on program 2, and it's releasing my chaff program. That's quick and easy there. The last system to go through here is your jettison. This is your emergency jettison button, and when you push this, it's going to drop all the contents on stations 2, 5, and 8. So your wing pylons and your center line will be dropped. Be aware also this is a hot button, and you can do this on the ground with weight on wheels, so be careful with that one. And it doesn't matter about the master arm position either. Over here is combat jet, and when you were to push that button there, it's going to drop your center line and pylon tanks. Everything air-to-air related, your AMRAMs, sidewinders, stuff like that, will stay attached. And again, it doesn't matter what master arm you're in. So now for some fun stuff. We look off to the left here, we see this nifty screen. It's got all kinds of information and symbols in it. This is your multi-purpose color display, your MPCD, and has 20 push buttons arranged around it. So we'll get in close here to it and zoom in here. And we'll take a look and see what we got here. This is the sit page. This is your default page it goes to. To get to the menu to select other pages, the M button here. And for this, we're going to look and see our armament, what weapons we're carrying. So we can go ahead and get over here and go to air-to-air mode. So we'll get out of nav. There we go. Now we're in air-to-air mode. And I'll use my weapon select switch to select my active missiles, medium range missiles mode. There. And now click on the armament page. I'll check our air-to-air page. And now it's showing we are we're ready with our Charlie on the left rear pylon. And we can use the boat switch forward to cycle the hard points for our medium range missiles. As such, we got our 2 hard points under the belly and the 2 on the pylons, the Bravos. To get over to short range missiles for our AIM-9s, we hit SRM switch on the missiles on the weapon select switch. Changes this over. So now use the boat forward to select the hard point there. You'll notice the cool showed up here. You can use this to cool the AIM-9, the Limas, and Mikes. The 9X don't need to be cooled. Just go to SRM and they're ready to go. We'll switch back to medium range missiles. All right, on this page here, still have our number of chaff and flare available. And this shows while you're jamming, which of the sets is jamming or which is in standby. So you'll see different displays here as each of the sets is doing its thing. So let's go back to the menu here. Next, we're going to do the flight data, which is this. And this will show your flight members since I've only got a number 2 with me. It shows how many active missiles we have, how many semi-active missiles, and how many short-range missiles. So he's also carrying the same thing I am. So it's 6 AIM-20s, 2 AIM-9s, and he has 19,000 pounds of gas. So this is a quick and easy way to check your flight rather than plugging up the comms, asking for fuel checks or weapon states. Pretty handy to have. Click back to the menu here. The next page we want to look at is also under the armament page. And this button here will allow you to determine what you want to see on your RWR screen. So right now we're in global and it shows everything here. Click it and it goes to no Navy. So if you're flying over in the Balkans or somewhere like that, you can push that. It'll cancel out any of the naval ships that plug up your RWR. Next push is no search modes or no search radars. So all that goes out, and now we're just have the air. This is probably an AWACS here. Next push. It says WFO. This is air threats only. Again, showing our air threats. Nothing but 18s, 15s, and 16s. One more push. Ground priority. We're not getting any surface threats right now, so nothing's showing up. Another push. This is air to ground, air and ground, sorry. And again, it goes back to the air threats because there was no ground threats. We keep it in global for the time being, unless you need to declutter the HUD or the RWR some way. Clean up the picture a little bit. We'll push the menu button again, and we will go over here to the sit page. And let me zoom in a little bit here so we can see what's going on here. So the sit page has a lot going on. You want to use your castle switch to control what's going on the sit page here. So we can use the castle forward. And now the cursor gets centered around us, the own ship. If you castle forward again, that'll put the cursor up here in the FCR. And use your TDC to slew it around. So we'll go back down and we'll castle up again. and use your TDC to slew the cursor here. So that's how you select between the two different screens. That's with castle up. With castle up, or with this screen selected now, with the TDC moving the cursor, you can use this to bump the screen, your range up and down. If you notice on the top right, this is the range around you that you're seeing. So go up to 120 miles, back down to 60, 30 and such. Now we want to castle right. That puts you in center mode at 40 miles. Castle right again. Put you back at decenter. Again, the bumping works in center mode as well. A castle down. This is your formation page or view. It will zoom to whatever it needs to show all of your flight members. So it's gone to 5 miles. There's my number 2, and he's sitting back there about by 7 o'clock. Castle down again, goes back. And so if you slew around, you want to see what's going on with these guys here, we can expand this with castle left. And that expands to a 10-mile range. Castle left again. We can go, let's bump it up and see what we got. There's some bad guys over here. Maybe we expand on them. That separates it between the two. Gives you a little bit of SA there. You got two outlaws right there. On the SIT page here, it shows your line work and your waypoints from the DTC. So here's the flot line that I have in. This is the bullseye lines that I have put in. I show in the first tutorial dealing with the 2D map to put a cursor over bullseye because there's no bullseye in the Eagle. So you'll have to make it active to that. Let me show you something here. Okay, with the cursor over ownership, you'll notice this number here changes as you move. This is your bearing and range from your own ship. So if I make 2 active, this one here, it's over bullseye. Now this is my bullseye call down here. So when AWACS is giving you the bogey dope calls, bullseye 42, 24 miles, you'll know where to look to. And this one back over here to the side at 277.43. So it's always good to put your steer point over the bullseye so you'll know to navigate to that to get proper identification calls. Over here is your chaff and flare. We're in global RWR mode. And magenta on your ECM sets here means it's in standby. So I'll go over here and look. We're in manual mode. Back over here again. And if you will coulee to the right, that'll give consent for your jammer. So as they turn green. And like I said earlier, if we can slip back over to the armament page real quick, it shows that set 2 is jamming. and we're in manual mode now. If I was to switch that back over to auto, and we're in auto mode, and it's allowing 2 to jam. Put that back in manual. And there we go. Interesting thing here, in order to get back to your sit rather quickly, using your HOTAS, if you'll castle down or castle right, it immediately goes to the sit. I didn't have to click anything. So from over here in flight data, castle right, back to sit. Pretty handy to have there without having to click buttons. Down here in the bottom left is your active radars. I got Charlie's called up. If you boat forward, change it there. Oops. There you go. Have to push it right. So you can change your between Bravos and Charlies. It just cycles until that's what it is, until you bump the right hard point. I have no semi-active missiles, and if I go to SRM mode, that highlights my 9Xs. Back to medium range, and this is the number of gun rounds you have. The next system we're going to go over is the FCR, your fire control radar, and that is displayed on your B-scope on the vertical situation display right here. As said earlier, you can castle up, which selects between VSD and your multi-purpose display back and forth. TDC also slews the cursor in the FCR. When you're active up here, you can also castle right to go to center mode, your display here, and it also allows you to castle down for your formation page. In order to expand in the area down here, you need to be in the in that proper page. So castle forward, and then you can expand with castle left. So with the cursor in your VSD, you can adjust the range by bumping at the 160 miles and all the way down to 10. Yeah. So you can go back out to about 80. And this can be your long range scan mode here. It's default. You could couple the range of your FCR with the range of your sit page. We go into menu. We go to menu, and then down here range, and with it highlighted, now it'll be coupled. So now it's moving back and forth with each other here. And to decouple it, just go back into there. And now they're not switching together. Use your elevation control on your throttle to move your elevation search volume up and down. So right now we're searching from 58,000 down to negative 31,000, which to the ground level. So as you notice, when you get closer, the elevation gates get closer as well, because your search area gets more narrow. So 37 to 12. You can also bump In this search mode here, between the edges, 120-degree search. As you can see, it's going back and forth. And we're in 4 bar, as it's counting the bars for you. 3, 4. If we give it a bump over here to the left, now we got a 20-degree search at 4 bars. We can slew that around here. And these are your azimuth only chevrons for jammers. Slide over here. We've burned through with these guys. It's already picking them up here. Or that one there. But you'll initially see the jammer symbols here. Give it a bump, and we're back to 120. On this screen also, we can coolie left for IFF interrogation. And you notice these little circles popped up here. We'll do it again. Oh, there we go. And we got a circle up here as well. So the closer the target are to you, the more correlation you get between the mode 4 return to the target that your target track. Getting close here, mode 4 that. May take a couple hits. Let me bump it up one. Yep. So now you get a little bit better correlation at 20 miles out, or I bet they're at 10 miles. Getting 2 mode 4 returns. Since our main purpose is to search out air threats and to be the world's greatest air superiority fighter, let's take a look at different modes of acquiring targets and locks with the Eagle's FCR. We will cover the manual acquisition modes by using long-range search and track while scan, and then the auto acquisition modes. In manual acquisition modes, we are able to track, sort, lock, and employ our weapons against targets once certain parameters are met in the BVR arena. If you look to the VSD, the FCR sweeping back and forth, and it'll begin to populate with the track files. Now, as these track files move, they'll leave a little ghost or history behind them. And if you want to increase the number of history tracks, over here by the throttle, zoom in here. This knob here will switch between 1, 2, and 3 histories. Slide it back up here. Unpause the game, and we can see them start to populate. Let's take a look at the manual acquisition in long-range search mode, or LRS. This is going to be your primary air-to-air surveillance mode. So what we're going to do is get into air-to-air mode. So first thing we want to do is hit your ADI button, turn it off. Over here, master arm on. And if you haven't already, go to MRM to select your AMRAMs, which we're already there. You'll get this symbology here showing that your 120s are up and ready. If you'll boat forward, you can cycle the hard points for your 120s, for your Charlies, and your Bravos that we have hanging out there. Go back to Charlies. You just keep cycling until you get the ones you want. So what we want to do is show how to lock up a target. So TDC is in the VSD, slewing it around. And we're going to pick up this guy right here. You hover your cursor over him and TDC to press. And now we've locked onto him in STT mode, single target track. and the lights on your brow have illuminated to show you that is a fact. Couple things here real quick. In the HUD, TD box over the target. It gets outside the HUD, it'll start flashing. Just turn and fly to him. He's 24.8 miles away, and he's on a 09 left aspect, and he's 4 miles away from you, or 4 minutes away from you. It says we have a closure of 630 knots, and we get the DLZ like we normally would. This is going to be, this first heavy line here is going to be your R optimum. This will be your optimum area to launch. The one right above it here was your R pi, or your high probability of intercept if the target doesn't change any direction or velocity or anything like that. So we're approaching the optimum area to launch on this target. Next one down here is your RTR, which is your turn and run point here, and of course our minimum point here. So this is going to be your highest probability area in here. Of course, that's going to be closer to. Looking down into the VSD, kind of repeat the symbols. The circle is your R opt, and this staple here is your RTR, or minimum area here. Close your caret, and this is your loft angle. You pull to 15 degrees and pickle the weapon there. That'll give you your best loft. Once we get closer, as the caret gets into the RTR area, your brow lights will start to flash, and you'll get a star that will appear under the TD box. So let's see if we can do that real quick. He's looks like he's trying to beam us a little bit here. Of course, he's a friendly, because we're in a friendly area down here. So let's unpause the game and see if we can watch some of the symbology. Okay, and by the miracle of television, we're back here. He's now turned back a little bit towards me. And as you can see, everything starts flashing when the caret enters the kill zone, basically, your highest priority, highest probability area. Level out here. So now we can see everything's flashing. Shot lights are flashing. You got your star, and your ASEC is flashing here as well. Of course, he's turning away from you now, so it's shrinking. So to drop a lock, we auto act to press, and that puts us back into long range search mode. Alright, I also wanted to show you in SRM mode with the 9X STT lock on this target here, right at 20 miles out. As we approach, brow lights will start flashing, and you'll get a triangle underneath the TD box. Usually, as you approach the RMAX 2 and RMIN 2 region, so we got pretty good closures. We ought to be getting that area pretty soon. This heavy line ought to be your RMAX 2. So within this little area here will be your optimum area to fire. Closing pretty quick. There they go. So as you can see the symbology. Yep, now we're really close, we're really good. Get your nose wheel steering to uncage. You don't have to cool the 9X. There we go. Auto act down or depress, auto act depress to drop the lock. Climb back up. Alright, we've got back up to altitude. So let's take a moment to look at some more of what the VSD has going for it. So this little target here, I'm going to go ahead and TDC depress on him, lock him up. And you'll notice some numbers along the top. Of course, this is your search range, 80 miles out. This is going to be his airspeed, 430 knots. His aspect, so 30 right. And his heading is 0, so due north, because we're heading at 320. The weight is your NCTR recognition. So since he's flying away from us, we're not going to get any information from that. Down here along the bottom is your ground speed. This is going to be the bullseye to the target. Very important information to have there. And this is your true airspeed. This here is the altitude of the target, 21,500 feet. So you can give your bullseye call and your elevation or altitude. Alright, so your default mode in long-range search is your 4-bar and 120 mile scan. When you lock onto a target, we did before here. I'll lean into him here a little bit. It switches to STT mode, which we got our lock lights are illuminated. If I was going to auto act down, this becomes designated TWIS, so designated track while scan. So we'll start picking up history of other targets out here. You auto act down again, you'll go back to STT. And if you want to drop the lock, you can auto act depress. You can see on the VSD also your steer point symbols show up as they're coming across the screen here. Now I'll take some time to demonstrate the track while scan or TWS modes and some of its features. The track while scan mode will help build SA, your situational awareness, by showing detail of maneuvering aircraft and helping to sort with other flight members. The demonstration I just showed you where we locked onto specific targets, we immediately went into STT mode. Of course, if they're carrying RWR equipment or something like that, they're immediately alerted to the fact that you're spiking them. So what if you don't want to do that? You'll be a little more sneaky. So if you have your cursor out here in space and you TDC down, while you hold that, TDC auto act back, you enter TWIS mode. You see down here. This is going to be a 30-degree scan at 2 bars. So it's pretty tight. Your elevations get closer together. At this range here I'm at now, it's 44,000 down to 4,000. So as you move around, you can see it getting really close together, closer you get. Thing you'll notice in TWIS is the velocity vector of the targets. This shows which way they're headed. Pretty easy. Now, in order to lock one of these fellas up from what is called non-designated TWIS, because we're just kind of bugging everybody right now. So if we want to zoom in on somebody, we're going to coolie up, and it's going to select the highest priority target, which is this guy here. And then you'll start getting your information, your DLZ, stuff like that. You coolie up again, it selects your next highest priority target, which right there, there's two guys clumped together. Coolie up again here. Switches to the next one here. You can watch your elevations over here. Sometimes if they're close together, you'll see the elevation separation. Like right there. Next guy here. All the way back around. So we had two guys here. Now they're starting to separate. You can see their velocity vectors. Turn into them, keep them in the picture. Now from here, you can coolie down, and you'll go back into non-designated TWIS. This is called designated TWIS. So we coolie down, and it goes back into this just all-seeing bug mode here, so we know what's going on out here. In this mode here, the TWIS can track 10 targets. It can also get, it says up to 18 additional, but they'll be lower intense target tracks. So it's definitely going to be tracking 10 targets. When you coolie up to lock the targets back into designated TWIS, your primary target will have the little golf tee on the end of it. Let's get over here where it's not as cluttered. Yeah, right. Come on now. Yeah, here we go. Pause the game for a second. And we'll zoom in a little bit here. So your primary target, the PDT, will have this golf tee on the end of it here, and he has a longer velocity vector. That can track up to 8 targets in this mode here. Show you the coolie up. There's 2 targets there. If you notice, it just jumped right there. 1 target there, 1 there, 1 there. Back over there. So we're looking at 21.5 for this guy. Coolie up, 21.6. So 100-foot separation between these two. And now somebody started jamming. Anytime you need to get back to the long-range search, you auto depress, clears everything, and it starts over new. So we can TDC depress and auto-act back for TWIS. So it's a pretty neat mode to have. Coolie up, switches your targets. Coolie down, back to non-designated TWIS. You can coolie up on this guy. Priority. Let me go back to non-designated, sorry. But if you just want to quickly get this guy rather than coolie up, you can TDC him. And if you're ready to launch a missile at him in STT mode, you can do that with the auto-act down, back. And there goes STT. Shot lights come on. Go back. And we can go back all the way with coolie down. It's pretty neat to have. And auto act depress, long range search. Something I want to add here that I didn't before, apologize. 94 seconds. This is the time of flight of your missile to hit this target here, to time out. In the current iteration of the Eagle, there's no indication or no timers for Husky and Pitbull. So you kind of got to use your judgment and kind of do some math here to know when to break a lock or go cold from a crank. So just know that 94 seconds is the time of flight from you to the bad guy. Now, what about the short game? Up close, within visual range, WVR. For those instances near a merge or sorting a pop-up, you need a quick reaction mode to get you on the bogey quick. The auto acquisition modes are best for short range missiles, and from long range search mode, you get to the auto acquisition modes using the auto ac switch. So first thing we need to do is get into short range missile mode, SRM switch. First mode is called Super Search, and we will auto ac up. And it gives a 20 degree by 20 degree search volume within your HUD. Use your TDC switch. You can go up to search 28 degrees above your nose and down to negative 19 degrees. So this mode here, we're searching 10 miles off our nose in our HUD. So we're just going to fly around and see if we can find somebody within visual range. There's the cats right there. Put the HUD on him. And now you're locked up. Just follow the cues. There goes the 9X growling. I got the volume turned down a little bit. Nose wheel steering, of course, to uncage. And now we're STT flashing. And the triangle I showed you earlier. Auto act depress. Break the lock. Nose wheel steering button to cage the Sidewinder again. Your next one's going to be your bore sight mode, and we're going to auto act twice forward. Oop, there's somebody out there. Let's get out of the way here. Let's play with these guys over here. So again, auto act forward twice. Now we got a 4 degree search volume there. We just again just put it on there. Automatically locks him up. 10 miles range. Nose wheel steering button. Good tone. Nose wheel steering button again. Auto act depress to brake. Our next one is the your vertical scan. So you auto act back, and you'll notice that the velocity, your vector line here, your lift vector line, will appear in the HUD, and this is going from 5 degrees above the horizon to 55 degrees up, so it's way up here. So again, roll. Put your lift line on the target. Locks him up. Uncage. We'll figure out who we locked up. Wasn't who we thought. Again, auto act back. There we go. Uncage. Auto act depress. Alright, the last auto acquisition mode is your long range bore sight. You'll hold the auto act forward for more than half a second. I'll do it for about a second. Release. It's a 40-mile scan. Right out your nose, so we can look around for targets. And we caught that guy there, so you can go over here to medium range missiles. And we picked him up at 20 miles, 21,000 feet. That's pretty handy to have if you see somebody in your sit page or something like that. You snap over to them and lock them up that way. Auto act down or depress, brakes lock. For the last demonstration, I'd like to highlight a few of the Link 16 additions that were recently added to the Eagle. And as always, please refer to the BMS manuals and other videos for extensive discussions on Link 16. The Link 16 in the Eagle is a bit different than what you're used to in the Viper. And here are some things to watch for. Over here on the sit page, only your flight members show up as your blue contacts. Your team and your donors don't show up as blue. If you were to lock up on this guy here, which I got my cursor over, you'll notice that the history track is now correlated with the Link 16 track. So you'll know exactly who out there in the mess you're locked up on. That's good for a little SA and for separation with your flight crew. You'll notice here my lock line is solid. If I was to fire a missile at this guy, it would start flashing. But what I want to do first is get my wingman to lock up on him, and I'll show you what he looks like. So he's about 30 miles out at Angels 20. So let me unpause the game and we'll get our wingman to lock up on him. I'll break the lock, auto act depress, and we go into Twiz mode here. So DDC depress and auto act back. We coolie up, got a little separation. So the 24 guy, I'll have it by wingman go after him. 2 weapons free air. 2, attack my target.
2, engaging. Well, 3, 5, 2, 20,000.
We'll pause again. Yeah, let me break my
2,
lock.
Fox 3 long.
So he's going to Fox 3 on this guy. You notice the dash line is now blinking. So you'll know exactly who he shot at. So we'll continue on. Zoom out. So MiG-19s, wait and see if they'll separate a little bit. Let's bump this down in range.
2, pitbull.
2, rejoin. The golf tee is on the guy that's turning cold.
Ramrod 7-2, on my way.
Oh.
2, request permission to engage, and it's block 3, 5, 1, 5, 19,000.
And I'll take a shot at this guy. Fox 3 at him. They're way down below, so I'm not too worried about them. Then we'll just crank off to the right. Yeah, it looks like we got 2 splashes out there. So we did pretty good. This concludes an overview of the avionics and systems for the F-15C Eagle in BMS 4.37 Update 6. The future of BMS is upon us, and the further development of the Eagle is going to be great fun to learn. I hope these tutorial videos have helped you as stepping stones as you take the reins of the mighty Eagle. Expect some helmet fire, so take your time, learn each system in steps. It's great fun to watch over the battlefield and to know that you can make a difference in the package completing a successful mission. So get high, get fast, and shoot first. Thank you for taking your time to watch.